Well, hello, this is Pastor Henzy Green, and welcome to the Filling Station broadcast. This is designed to fuel those of you that are dreamers, believers, and achievers. Look, it's based on this idea that early in life, particularly when I was entrepreneurial, it required a different type of motivation, different kind of encouragement, and that's exactly what we want to do here on the Filling Station podcast. It is also a derivative of the Filling Station, which is a church service on Sunday in Indianapolis, 9 a.m. at the Jordan Y. Well, we've been in an incredible series, I think, that has been blessing many people. It's called God's Plan. And it's based around the whole concept that God has a plan for you, a plan to prosper you and to give you a future, which comes out of Jeremiah 29:11. But we've got to do some very practical things to live into God's plan for us. Now, I want to just emphasize one piece of the plan today, and that's goal setting. There's so much information out there about goal setting, but goal setting is critical. If we take it in a sports analogy, how do you play football if you don't know where the touchdown line is? How do you kick a field goal if you don't know where the goal is? And so for many of us, we approach life in a way that we do not take time to set very tangible goals. So I want to give you three things that a goal has to be. A goal has to be written. If it is not written, it's a thought. It's not a goal. A goal must be written. The Bible tells us, write the vision, make it plain. Take time to write it down. Number two, the goal has to be measurable. You know, a goal can't be, I just want to be a better person. How would you measure if you're a better person? Or I want to be in good health. How do you measure if you're in good health? It has to have a numeric value. So for example, you may measure that I could run a mile in this time, or you could measure I'd lose this many pounds in this many months, or my blood pressure would be stable at this level. A goal has to have a numeric value or a number to make sure that it's measurable. And then the last thing is, it feels a little more nebulous, but I need you to hear me out on this. A goal must be believable. Now, the key is the goal must be believable to you. It does not have to be believable to somebody else. It just must be believable to the goal setter. Now, how do you establish a goal? Here's what I want you to begin to think through. And sometimes we rush to a goal without really taking time to think through it. So in this season, I'm really into this concept about alignment, that your life will reach its maximum potential and velocity when you bring everything into alignment. So some of us will set goals that are not worthy of us. They are not consistent with who we're designed to be. And those kind of goals will either do a couple of things. One, we won't get there because it's not that important. Two, we'll get there and then we'll find it's not fulfilling. During the first part of my life, I did that. I set a lot of goals, particularly in business. I would set goals to reach a certain point, and then I would get there, and then the sensation for me would be, is that it? And I was feeling that because the goal was not closely aligned with who I was designed to be. So 3 points here. The goal should always be in harmony with who you are spiritually. And so you don't want to set a goal that violates your spiritual principles. Number two, You want to set a goal that aligns with who you are most naturally. Now, for me, I'm really clear that my most natural state is as a fatherly teacher. That's really who I am. Even in college, it would irritate me so much because, like many people, I wanted to date and do those things. Women didn't see me that way. They saw me more as a fatherly figure, that safe place. So that's who I am naturally. And so my goals have to kind of align with who I am in my most natural state. And for me, it's that I'm a fatherly teacher. And so whatever I do, if it does not have that aspect to it, it's not going to be true to me. Like you see, the t-shirt we have for our church, it says "Nah Bigger." See, I love the shirt because that's part of my teaching, that God is calling you to bigger. I have another shirt that says, "I am anointed for this." And so even though it's a t-shirt, it's consistent with me because it aligns with my spiritual values and my natural values. Then, number 3, your goals should always reflect your life values. What's really important to you? If you're going to take time to set a goal that's important to you. Here's what I'm trying to get at. That a lot of times we'll set a goal, but we don't know what life value is at play underneath that goal. Any of you ever been around a 2-year-old that's in the why stage of life? Oh, it can be so irritating. So they'll ask you one question, and then they'll say, "But why?" And then you answer another question, and then they say, "But why?" And they'll just keep saying, "But why? But why? But why?" And it's irritating. But what I recognize is a lot of times as adults that we have expressed the concept, and there's a life value under that, and we've never explored the why that's under that. So like a lot of times I run into people that say, "Well, I want to be rich." Okay, cool. But why? So I can have a lot of money. Okay. But why? And if you keep asking that "but why" question, eventually you'll get down to your life value. Like for some people, they want to be rich because they don't want to struggle, and they don't want their families to have to struggle. For other people, they want to be rich because they want to have the freedom to do what they want to do. Just here recently, I was talking to somebody, and I went through a season where I had to be very tight in my stewardship. And I was working to be a good steward. But what I began to recognize was I had slipped into a place where my finances were making more decisions for me than my spirit. So like I go to a restaurant, I didn't just look at what I wanted. I looked at what was most economically feasible for that moment. So in essence, my finances were making that decision. So part of my goal with having money was to be able to have the freedom to make life choices without finances driving that decision. So what I'm asking you is, as you consider your goal in this big plan that God has for you, continue to ask yourself the question, but why? Don't be afraid to dig into what the truth of your why is. Because when you can get down to your big truth, then you'll be able to hold that goal in a different light. And you know exactly why it's important. And when you reach the give up moment, and you will have a give up moment, there will be a moment, if your goal is big enough, where it would make sense to not do this. If you don't know the why behind the goal, then you'll give up. I'll close with this. As many of you know, I'm a minister, and I am so thankful that when I got the call into ministry, that one of the persons that prophesied to me gave me this. They said, a door will open up before you. And when it opens, you have to go through it because it was the whole reason you were put on earth. And if you don't go through it, you'll never be happy and you'll never be satisfied. And so when I've had some of my most challenging moments in ministry, I've had to remember, if I don't do what I was created to do, I'll never be happy and I'll never be satisfied. So I want you to take some time, do that internal work, that hard work that really examines your why so you can set an effective goal. Well, this is Pastor Henzy Green. Thank you for joining me for these few moments. Now, over the next few weeks, we're going to attack other parts of your plan, what I like to call your God plan, and exactly how you create it, get it written down in a way that it becomes an effective document to help you guide your life toward what you desire most. Well, this is Pastor Henzy Green with the Filling Station, and we'll check you next week.